You know how you can ask your speaker to play a song or dim the lights with your voice? Well, what if I told you that exact same idea, that same technology, is now being used to run our cities? Today, we're going to see how the smart home is growing up and becoming the smart city.
I mean, think about it. We're already totally surrounded by smart tech. Our phones are basically an extension of ourselves, and our homes can do all sorts of things automatically. But what happens when you take that concept and scale it way, way up? Not just for a single house, but for an entire city. That's the big, fascinating question we're tackling today.
Okay, so let's start with what we know, the smart home. It's a pretty familiar idea, right? You've got your security cameras, thermostats, lights, all these different devices talking to each other to make your life a little bit easier. The key here is that network of connected things. Now just imagine taking that idea and scaling it from one house to millions of cars, thousands of streetlights, and countless buildings.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get into the engine behind this whole thing, the Internet of Things. Then, we'll look at how that engine is actually used to build a smart city. After that, we'll check out some real-world examples of what it's like to live in one. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this all really, really matters for our future.
So, first things first, we have to talk about the engine that powers this entire revolution, the Internet of Things. You've almost definitely heard the term IoT thrown around, but what does it actually mean? Let's nail this down because it is the key to understanding everything else.
So what is the IoT? Well, the simplest way to think about it is that we're giving everyday physical objects a little digital brain. We take a normal thing, like a streetlight or a trash can or a parking spot, we embed it with tiny sensors and software, and suddenly it can connect to the internet and talk to other devices. It's all about making our physical world digitally intelligent.
But, just connecting a bunch of devices is only step one. The real goal here isn't just to have a network of things. Now, the point is to create a system that delivers real, tangible value to us, to people. It all works in a kind of loop, a cycle that starts with a simple connection.
And this loop is what we call the IoT value cycle. Let's make it real. Let's use that smart parking spot as an example. So step one, a sensor in the pavement, that's the data sensing part, detects that a car has left. Step two, it communicates that tiny piece of data up to the cloud. Step three, an AI system analyzes that data and updates a citywide map. That insight gets sent to an app on your phone, that's data to value, which then tells you, hey, there's an empty spot right here. The human value? You save time, you save gas, you save your sanity. It's a perfect, simple loop from raw data to a real-world benefit.
Okay, so now that we get that value cycle for one little thing, let's see what happens when we blow it up to a massive, massive scale. We're now moving from a single device to an entire city. We're scaling this whole idea up to manage a complete urban environment. And that brings us to the smart city. So a smart city is basically an urban area that uses that IoT cycle we just talked about everywhere. It blankets the city with all kinds of sensors to collect data. It analyzes all that data to find patterns and insights, and then it uses those insights to run things way more efficiently. We're talking everything from traffic and energy to public safety.
So how does this actually work? Well, you can think of it in layers. At the very bottom, you have the physical world. People, cars, buildings, all these things that are constantly generating data. That data then flows up through the network into these powerful applications in the cloud. And it's those applications that deliver the smart services we actually get to use, like better transportation or improved public health.
And here is the truly mind-bending part, the sheer scale of it all. This isn't just about a few smart gadgets here and there. We're talking about a vast, interconnected, citywide network. Everything from the traffic lights to the water pipes is constantly feeding data into the central system, creating what you could call a real-time digital twin of the entire city.
Okay, that's enough of the high-level theory. This all sounds amazing, but what does it actually feel like to live in a smart city? Let's get down to brass tacks and look at some real-world examples of how this technology is already solving some of our biggest everyday problems.
First up, let's tackle something that drives pretty much all of us crazy: traffic. We've all been stuck in that gridlock, inching forward, just wishing there was a better way. Well, in a smart city, there actually is. And here's the wild part. You are probably already part of a smart traffic system. Every time you use an app like Waze or Google Maps, your phone acts as a sensor. It anonymously shares your location and your speed. The system then takes that data, along with data from thousands of other drivers, crunches the numbers, and figures out the absolute best route for everyone in real time. It's a perfect, almost invisible example of IoT in action. All right, next on the list of urban nightmares, the never-ending hunt for a parking spot. I mean, some studies show that a huge chunk of city traffic is just people like you and me circling the block looking for a place to park.
Smart parking is such a simple but brilliant solution. You put little IoT sensors in each parking space. These sensors know if a spot is free or if it's occupied. All that information gets fed into a live database, so an app on your phone can literally guide you directly to an open spot. No more circling. It saves time, fuel, and a whole lot of frustration.
Now, here's an example you might not think about, but one that has a massive impact: streetlights. Traditionally, they're pretty dumb. They're either on or they're off. But what if they could be so much smarter?
So, intelligent streetlights use sensors to detect motion. When a car or a person gets close, the light brightens up to full power. Once they pass, it dims back down. This saves an incredible amount of energy. Plus, and this is really cool, if a bulb burns out, the light itself can automatically send a maintenance request. It's more efficient and it makes our streets safer. It's a total win-win.
And finally, let's talk about something a bit more serious: the health of our cities. Urban air pollution is a huge concern all over the world, and this is another area where IoT can make a real positive difference.
By placing a network of smart sensors all over the city, officials can get a real-time picture of air quality. These sensors can measure things like CO2 levels, smoke, all sorts of pollutants. This data lets the city identify pollution hotspots and even send out public health warnings when the air quality gets bad.
So we've seen some pretty cool examples. But let's zoom out one last time and look at the big picture. Why does any of this really matter? What are the ultimate benefits of going through all this effort to make our cities smart?
Well, when you put all these pieces together, what you get is a city that just runs more intelligently. City planners can make decisions based on actual, real-time data, not just old surveys or guesswork. City services become more efficient, which saves taxpayer money and reduces energy waste. And for us, the people who live there, it means safer streets, cleaner air, and just a better overall quality of life. It's all about creating a more livable, more sustainable city for everyone.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. The technology itself is impressive for sure, but the real promise here isn't just about finding a parking spot a little faster. The true transformative power of this technology lies in what it can do for the greater good, creating cities that are healthier, safer, and maybe even a little more equitable for every single person who calls them home.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? This whole vision of a perfectly efficient, data-driven city is built on one thing: a massive, massive amount of data. Our data. So the biggest question we face isn't just about technology, it's about trust. As our cities get smarter, how do we make sure they also stay private? How do we keep all that data secure? Figuring that out, well, that's the next great challenge.